Happy Saturday morning, all you beautiful people. I'm still working on my coffee, so I am a little tongue-tied here. Um, I wanted to come on and first off, I have not had makeup. This is just the raw me, so I apologize. But I'm getting ready to go outside and uh, do some work on the chicken run because it's a gorgeous day and it's one of the last few that we're going to have, and I need to get the plastic up to winterize the run and do some other things, and then we're going to be doing fencing, so why put on a face? But all last night, after hearing some comments from some other people, not bad comments, but just, I can't afford this, I can't afford that. Um, and so I was running things through in my head, and I am in my opinion, queen of making a penny bleed. I can make that thing cry. And we know things are getting more expensive. Inflation is up. What last year used to be, last year you could get a dozen eggs for 50 cents. This year at Aldi, the cheapest place around, it's like $2.50. And they have limits on them. Some of that is because of the bird flu that they were using to cull a lot of chickens. So I'm hoping that as we start recovering from the millions of birds that have been needlessly killed, and that is from my research and my opinion. Please don't leave me nasty comments. If you have done your research and found that that's what needed to be done and you believe that, that's great. I personally know the bird flu is real, but I think it was put over the top for political reasons. So don't leave me nasty comments. That we can just agree to disagree. But I'm hoping as we recover from that, we'll see the eggs and chicken prices come down slightly. I don't know. Anyway, we don't have money trees. There's no money. I mean, my money tree is bare. I'm just saying, okay? Everyone lives paycheck to paycheck, unless you're independently wealthy. And if you are, kudos to you. But I'm a working Joe. My husband's a working Joe. And most of the people that I know they're just trying to make ends meet. A little bit about my background. I have 8 beautiful children. And in my early married life, when I had just 1 or 2, my profession was actually helping people get out of debt, helping them be able to budget, helping them meet their financial goals. That's my background. That's what I did. I was a financial planner. Life took me elsewhere, as happens with most people. We have windy roads, and we follow them and follow where the Lord leads. And so here I am. But I still like to help people be able to meet their financial needs when I can. And so I just wanted to share some of my budgeting hacks. Not even so much budgeting hacks, but things that I do. So we were a single income family for a long time, and it's not like my husband made great money. And early on, we made some poor financial decisions that made things a little bit tougher for us. And then babies came, and the cycle of life. And so early on, I fed our family, and this is when we were eating the junk standard American diet. I fed the family on about $500. Now, understand that was a decade ago. So in today's dollars, and that just seems so weird to be saying because we're like our grandparents would say, oh, I remember when. Now I'm saying that, and it's not even that long ago. So now that $500 would be, $1,000 or so. And that's so sad. And as years grew and my husband's paycheck grew, I was able to increase our food budget. And so about 6 years ago, I was able to significantly increase our food budget. So that was good. About 12 years ago, my husband took a different position with his company, and he went from being hourly with overtime, lots of overtime, to being salaried, which meant no overtime. The benefit was it was Monday through Friday, day job, so, we had him home, and so it was a trade-off. But losing that overtime, we lost that first year, we lost $10,000. Okay? When you're in security and you need to work overtime and it's time and a half, that's a lot of dough. And I remember then thinking, what a trade-off that is. And how are we going to make ends meet? Because I was not working. So I had a little nutrition business. And no, actually at that time I didn't even have a nutrition business. So that was tough. And so being my nerdy, geeky self, numbers, I went to work on a budget plan. And I had to change things around to make things fit. We wanted to get out of debt, but I realized if we were going to be able to survive month to month, that we needed to get out of debt more slowly. That was just the way it is. So, if you get an income tax refund, what we used to do with that was throw it at debt. Like the whole thing would be gone just to get rid of debt. We'd save some for, a little bit of fun things. If you get paid on a weekly or bi-weekly basis, if you get paid on a weekly basis, there's 4 months out of the year where you get 5 paychecks instead of 4 paychecks. We used to take that 5th paycheck and again, either throw it at debt, paid on medical bills, whatever. If you get paid bi-weekly, there's 2 months out of the year where you get an extra check, but it's the amount of 2 weeks. So it's the equivalent. And that's where we are now because my husband his company switched from paying weekly to bi-weekly. So I had to make that money, which was extra money. It just wasn't. We budgeted on a 4-week month. So on those months where there was that additional paycheck, instead of throwing that at bills, some of it went to bills, but then I pulled some of it out to put it into little different savings. So in that first year, I was able to increase our food budget substantially, and I'll tell you how in a minute, increase our vacation fund, increase Christmas fund, put my cell phone bill into like a savings so that it didn't come out of our monthly budget. And if anyone wants like to have a one-on-one budgeting Zoom call or whatever, I'm happy to do that because this is important. But anyway, I was able to strategically use that money to set aside so that I would have that. So in our normal 4-week budget, I would have our grocery money and our gas money and utility money and all of that budgeted out of each paycheck. And then that additional paycheck, either those 2 months or 4 months of the year, and if you get paid monthly or on the like the 1st and the 15th, or the 15th and the 30th, this really won't help you, and I apologize. But I think the majority of people get paid weekly and bi-weekly. But what I would do is I had a whole Google spreadsheet of what I needed to allot for certain things throughout the year, so that I would have like a savings. So each of those extra paychecks, let's say, I would pull $300 or $400 out of that paycheck to put into a food slush fund. Okay? And then that way, if say 1 month I was running short, well, in the beginning, actually, what I did was out of that food slush fund, I would take $75 each month and add that to my normal grocery budget. And that worked out like really well. It let us live in the month, but then it gave us extra. Okay. And now I can use that food slush fund. If I need extra in the month, fine, but otherwise it's there so that I can, if there's a sale, you know, like at Costco the other day, they had a really nice pork belly sale. The meat was like 2 days to the sell-by date, so they had knocked it down, and basically you got a pound free. I didn't have to take that out of my grocery money because I had the food slush fund, so I could use that, and it didn't take away from my family's grocery money. Okay, so really take a look at your own situation and see where you can make those pennies cry. Okay, so I have a little cheat sheet of things I wanted to go over. Hopefully I won't forget anything. So the first thing is, where'd my book go? Oh, here it is. First thing is buy local whenever you can. If you can build a relationship with a farmer where you can buy a quarter cow or a half cow, and you know how that meat is grown, it's well worth the money. It will be an upfront investment, but if you can take that food slush fund out of the budget and you don't need it for other things, that would be a way to get you to where you could get that meat. In the store, you don't need to get the most expensive cuts. Just get the best that you can afford. We do not eat grass-fed, not even really grass-finished, but I know how our beef is raised, and I know the family that raises it, and I know it's good meat, and I know the animals are well cared for, and they don't use antibiotics or anything like that. So to me, that's super important. And they try to feed them as best that they can. So it's always going to be a trade-off. You have to do what's best for you. You will also realize, so when my family and I used to eat, we went from the SAD diet, and when I say diet, I'm talking about just a way of eating, not losing weight, because that's not what diet means. Diet means how you eat. Everyone has a diet, okay? But we went from the SAD diet to paleo. And paleo is whole food, but it's, you know, fruits and veggies and all of this stuff, which is just fine. But that was way more expensive, in my opinion, than how we eat now. If you're eating that way, or you like vegetables and things like that, low carb fruits, you know, depending on where you are on the spectrum of if you're eating a proper human diet, you can always get frozen. Okay, you can get frozen veggies. They're way healthier than the canned stuff, unless you're canning your own. I would suggest investing in a deep freeze. Even if you have to put away just a little money each month until you can get a freezer separate from your refrigerator purchased, I highly recommend doing that. We did that when we lived in an apartment and we had 1.5 children. Our refrigerator freezer just was not big enough, and so we were like, whatever, it's going to take up some of our kitchen space, but I don't care if you have to put it in your bedroom. You will, just hear me now, thank me later. You will be surprised, because then you can buy more things in bulk that maybe are on a great sale or a closeout or whatever, and you can freeze them. You can freeze cheese, you can freeze a lot of things. So invest in a freezer, and it is an investment. So the other thing is, when you go to the stores, always check if they have like a discount meat, where meat is getting ready to expire or whatever. Check those. My dad was at the store and he got a bunch of bacon for $1.99 a pound, because it was like a day from the sell-by date. So he took it all and put it in his freezer, because why wouldn't you? I mean, that bacon was normally like $6 a pound. So definitely check that. The other thing is, if your grocery store or your butcher or whatever has odds and ends bacon, because bacon's expensive, okay? But it's one of the best protein to fat meats. So our Woodman's, which is just a Wisconsin store, they have, so I get this one, and I don't get anything from any of these brand names or anything. This is just what I get. So this is Jamestown brand, and some places carry it in the 1-pound package as well as bigger packages. But this has it has 0 carbs, which means any sugar that was used to cure it, it's been cured out, so it doesn't have, like, some will have like 2 carbs per serving, and that means that there's sugar added after the curing process. So this is a really good bacon, but it's a lot cheaper, and the reason is because it's irregular slices. So you might have some that are thick, you might have some that are half, but it's a pound. So it's no different than if you went and bought the Oscar Mayer bacon or whatever, I don't know. And it's really good. So look for the odds and ends or the irregular slices, because they can't sell them for as much. This is another package that I picked up, and this one again is 0 carbs in the ingredients. Is just, it's only cured. It has, some sugar when it's cured, but then that's out. So this is just odds and ends, and this is really, really great, because after watching Dr. Barry's video on making bacon chips, it's perfect for this irregular bacon, because you can just slice it up, and even though this is odds and ends, there's still really long pieces in here, but some are a little bit fatter. So I'll link the bacon chips video in the show notes, because it's really cool, and it's super easy to make, and I don't have to sit there and flip it or get burned or anything like that. But this worked out to be $2.25 a pound, and it was a 2.5 package, 2.5 pound package for $2.25 a pound. So that it was $6.99 for the package. So I bought like all of them that they had. And again, when I found that, I didn't have to take that out of my food money. I was able to just pull it out of the slush fund, because it wasn't what I was expecting to buy. Another tip is menu planning, especially super key if you have a family. So if you menu plan, you can grocery shop according to that menu. What this is going to do for you is it's going to allow you to buy, number one, to make your meals more with the same ingredients, similar ingredients, for that week. So if you eat vegetables, and you want green beans, you might want to buy a big bag of green beans because it's cheaper than buying the small if you're doing frozen, okay? And then have 3 meals that week that have the green beans because they're there like that. So menu planning is key. When you go to the grocery store, make a list and stick to that list. If you see something and you're like, oh, I should have put that on my list, then make a note of it. If it's not like, oh my gosh, we're completely out of it and I completely, forgot, don't get it at that time. If it is, oh yeah, I forgot to put that on there, stick it on your list so that then you can keep that list for the next time you go, and then that way you can like go through your cupboards, your refrigerator when you're getting ready to go grocery shopping. You're like, yep, I'm out of this. Oh, I'm good on this, and then you can make a running total. Before I go on with that, use cash. Use cash when you go to the store. You won't overspend because once the green is gone, guess what? It's pantry challenge or refrigerator challenge time. Years ago, 14 years ago, I was introduced to Dave Ramsey. Saved my husband's and my relationship because we used to fight over money all the time because we were stressed. And this really helped me help my clients at that time when I was, doing financial planning. Taught me how to budget, taught us how to budget, and how to reach our financial goals. So I used to listen to his podcast and stuff, but there's only so many hours in the day, and so I haven't listened for a long time. But he does have a show that you can watch or listen to. Great materials, just phenomenal. Really, really good information. I don't agree with everything that he says, and that's fine, and I don't have to. Just like with any doctor or scientist, that I follow the actual data and the science, and I use the shopping cart method and pick what applies to my situation, and I take that and I use it. If he's talking to someone that's 70 years old, that doesn't apply to me yet, but I keep that in the back of my mind. So I pick these up and I give them as graduation gifts because it's a great way to start young people out right. So Total Money Makeover, and he has budget sheets and stuff in here, and that is actually brings me to this. So this is our budget sheet, and we have our bills, our monthly bills here that we have, and then I'll put the pay period and what the check is and our tithing. Like everything gets budgeted out here. Where you see the little asterisks is what I get in cash. The only thing that we do now is we do have a credit card that we put our gas on, and the reason that we do that is because everything is prepaid pretty much. Also, we found doing this keeps us out of the convenience store, which helps with not caving to, we don't so much anymore cave to that cookie or that donut or that coffee. If you drink gas station coffee, we don't really do that anymore, but this is it. It just makes it really convenient for us, and we've developed the discipline that we pay that off every month because it's just our just my business expenses and gas that gets put on that credit card. Otherwise, everything else, if it's not in the budget, it doesn't. We'll have a fund for like if we want to go out to eat or whatever. But this has like our co-pays, so I budget out so that I can make like all these mini savings, so that if we get hit with a big medical bill, I budget some each month. We don't go to the doctor each month, but I budget some each month so that if we get hit with this big medical bill, then I've got that chunk. And it's just sitting in my checking account, but in my registry, I have it pulled out as if it's already been paid. If that doesn't make sense to you, that's okay. Like I said, I'm totally happy if someone wants to talk face to face via video. And but the cash, doing the cash is really great. And when you pull out for your food slush fund, pull that out in cash so that you have it. I don't care, leave it in an envelope in your safe or under your mattress or whatever, but those 4 or 2 extra paychecks and then whatever you might take out of your tax refund, if you get a tax refund, pull that out in cash. And that way, you know, when you're like, okay, I'm going to be going to the store, I know what I need to get on my list, my grocery list, but I'm going to take my slush fund money with, and maybe not all of it, because if there is that bacon that, hey, they're clearancing it out, it's not on my list, I didn't need it per se, but this is something that I should stock up on, then you'll have that slush money. Or like when I was at Costco and they had the pork belly. Okay, so I got 2 huge packs. Well, that was $60 some. I didn't want to pull that out of my grocery money, so I was able because I had built up that food slush fund. Okay, so that is another tip. If you have an Aldi, shop there. If you have an Aldi, shop there, and then what you can't get at Aldi, then go to your local grocer, or you know, if you have a like we're blessed here in Wisconsin, we have a Woodman's, and they're a very large store, but their prices, and they've got something for like everyone. Their prices are very reasonable compared to somewhere like Kroger or Piggly Wiggly or Festival. I don't know what other stores are in other parts of the country, but those are primarily Midwestern stores. So Meijer's is fairly decent on their pricing, and in some areas that's going to be the best besides Aldi that you're going to get. Same with Walmart. I don't really like to support those big box stores, but if you got to make that penny bleed, and that's where you can make it bleed, then shop there. Okay, we all have to do the best that we can do. Buying in bulk when you can is going to save you a lot. Now you might be thinking, okay, Sherry, I'm going to buy in bulk, but this stuff is going to go bad, or it's going to get freezer burned, or you know, whatever. You need to not only invest in a deep freeze, but you need to invest in a vacuum sealer. And I will link the one that I have and like, and is really reasonable on price, in the show notes, okay? Or the show description, whatever. So I got this off of Amazon. It's about $80. The brand name is Potane, and it's an 8-in-1. You can actually get canisters. You can do where you can just seal only. So if you're like, I just want this sealed, I don't want to pull air out because I don't want to squish it or anything, you can do that. You can do delicate. I really like it. Okay, this uses just any old regular vacuum seal bags. You can get them in different sizes. I just picked up a huge box of vacuum sealing bags at Costco because they had a sale. I actually haven't put them away yet. Shame on me, so I have them right here. But they had this on sale. And so, again, this was not on my list. So this came out of my food slush fund because it's for food. It's an investment in my food. So, and at the same time, so this is the pork belly that I got. I cut it up and I froze it and vacuum sealed it. Okay. Now, what if you're saying, it's just me. I don't have anyone. So what am I going to do with this huge, I mean, the pork belly package was like this, and I don't want to spend $30 or $40 on it. It's great. Find a local friend that wants to split it with you, or two local friends that want to split it with you. You know, give them a call. Hey, this is on sale. Do you want to go halvesies with me? Do that. You can also do that with buying your meat in bulk. You might not be at the point where you can buy a quarter cow or a half cow. So call a friend and say, hey, I'd like to get a quarter cow. It's going to be about X amount of dollars. Would you want to split that with me? It's a way to get your toes in the water of buying your beef in bulk, buying it local. So splitting with a friend, doing a group buy, especially when you find sales like that, okay? If you have any places you can do a group buy, like a co-op or something, here locally, we have a Facebook bulk buy, and we'll do various buys, vanilla beans, things like that. But also one of our admins has a Frontier account, and she graciously lets us use her discount, because when the group buys and we get over X amount of dollars, then we get free shipping. But in the discount, like, you can find these things in the store, but we're paying, going through our buy, we're paying $4, $5, $6 less than what we would be paying in the store. So if you can find something in your area like that, I would highly recommend doing that. So I'm just checking off everything here. Oh, one other sealer that I wanted to tell you about. My stepmom turned me on to this. So this is a little handheld vacuum sealer, and I'll link this in the notes below as well. For things like, you're like, well, I don't want, I want to vacuum seal something so it stays fresher longer in the fridge, maybe your cheese, maybe your ham, maybe whatever. But you don't want to use the big vacuum sealer because you get into it daily or a couple times a week, whatever. So this is really nice because it's handheld and it uses Ziploc bags, like not your regular Ziploc bags. So it's just a little handheld one, and it uses these Ziploc bags, so you can purchase them separately. It comes with some, and they're not super expensive, and you're going to use them time and time again. You can write on here with a wet erase marker so that it's not going to smudge off, and then you can, when you wash it, it'll wash off. So you fill this up to where it says, and they come in different sizes. There's a zipper that goes on here like this. And so then you would zip this shut, lay it down, and then you put this over the air valve and you turn it on, and it's going to suck the air out. And once it's all done, it's going to suck it up and seal it, and then you can shut this off. This is rechargeable with the USB, a USB cable and a cord, and I love it. I absolutely love it. So I use the big vacuum sealer, and you don't have to get all this stuff at one time. Just make it on a list. Christmas is coming up, so you know you can put some stuff on a Christmas list, or ask for gift cards so that you can get some of these things that you might not maybe have the money for in your budget, but you want to get it soon. But I use this all the time for those things that I want to stay fresher in the fridge. But I don't need long-term storage for it, like in the deep freeze, or like in the cupboard. If my kids have made some keto cookies or whatever, and we don't do that often, but they're kids, so if they want to have something, then we can put it in a vacuum. We can vacuum seal it up, not super tight, so it doesn't crunch, but it keeps the air out. So I'll link this as well. But these two vacuum sealers are worth every penny. So let's see. Let's talk the dangers of Costco. Costco can be a double-edged sword, or Sam's, or another warehouse club like that, okay? when you go in, you need to go in with blinders on. Have your list, know where your things are that you need to get. Go in with your blinders on, because if you don't, I guarantee you're going to blow your budget. Because you're going to walk up and down those aisles and you're going to go, oh, I forgot I wanted that. And in the cart it goes. If it's not on your list, don't buy it. If you forgot, oh crap, I forgot we're like on our last pound of butter. Put it on your list so that the next time you're making your list, you'll know what to go look for. Okay? Costco has the cage-free eggs, and they're right around the same price as Aldi, but you can get them in, it's a 5 dozen. We eat a lot of eggs. Well, we have chickens now, but prior, and so it's 5 dozen versus right now Aldi's is limiting at 2 dozen, at least in our area. Maybe not all areas. I don't know. So you can get a lot of things at Costco to really help your budget. Your food slush fund can come in handy at Costco, because if you're like, well, I'm not going to use the big package of, I don't get my bacon there anymore because it's too expensive, but I'm not going to use the big package of the cheese, okay? And I could get it cheaper per package at Aldi, but per unit price, it's more expensive. Well, okay, take out of your food budget the amount that you would have spent on a normal, and out of the food slush fund, use that to buy the rest, and then freeze the rest, and then you don't have to buy cheese. Just as this example, you don't have to buy cheese for the next 3 months, because maybe that's going to take you, if you eat cheese. Again, it's just for the example. Not everyone does. Coconut milk. I use the canned thick coconut milk. Well, it's cheaper for me to buy a 6-pack there than it is for me to buy the canned, single cans at, say, Woodman's. So buying it there, then I might only need to buy it once every 6 months instead of, every 2 or 3 months I'm having to go grab a couple of cans. Whatever works for you. If you're like, nope, I just want to buy the smaller packs, it does not matter to me if it's 15 cents more per unit size. And again, I'm just a geek. I have a spreadsheet where I'm like, okay, here it's this much per ounce. Yes, you might be paying more as a bulk, but you're still saving the money because it's 25 cents less an ounce here than it is here. So, you have to do you have to figure out what works for you. And all of this, it takes time to get established. So I totally get that. One other tip that I want to caution. Don't know your stores. Know your stores, what you can get where, and their general pricing. Certain things, dairy and produce, go up and down, okay? Here's a prime example. In Green Bay, where I used to live, we had 2 Aldis in Green Bay. We had East Side and West Side. East Side would be more expensive on their dairy products. So back when we drank milk, their heavy whipping cream, their butter, it was always more expensive on the East Side than it was on the West Side by maybe 15, 20 cents a package. Sometimes their eggs would be like way more expensive, like 50 cents a dozen more expensive. You can drive yourself crazy going through and going, oh, this is 10 cents more expensive here. I know I can get it there for, 10 cents less. And so then you're going, so you get here and then you're going to drive way across town to save $1.50, total. You're going to spend more time in gas. You're going to waste more time. And that money that you think you're saving is just going to go to gas, especially today. So do not fret over it's 50 cents cheaper at this store than it is at this store. Yeah, but the gas that you're going to spend to go to that store is going to negate that 50 cent savings. So don't do that. You will drive yourself crazy, and it will all even out in the end anyway. So you're going to spend more on gas to save a little bit on food. That makes no sense. So that, and I know people that will do that. I used to be one of those people. Like, I've got my spreadsheet. I'm like, okay, this much is at Aldi East, it's this, and at Aldi West, it's this, and Walmart has this. I'd rather just get it all at 1 or 2 stores than go to 4 stores, because my time is valuable and your time is valuable. When you waste time like that, you are taking time away from things that you could be doing to make yourself happy or relaxed. You're taking time away from your family. So just don't do that. Okay? Don't. Now, if you know that something is on sale at the store across town and it's like a $15 savings, fine, go to that store, but then do all your shopping at that store. Get that sale item that you went for, but then do everything that you would have done maybe at the other side. Does that make sense? If it doesn't, I'm sorry, I haven't finished my coffee. So those are my tips, and I'm sorry that this went on so long, but budgeting is super important to me, because if you don't budget, like, some people will feel like a budget suffocates them. But it shouldn't. It should give you the freedom. It should help you feel free, because when you budget, then you're telling your money what it's going to do. If you don't budget, then your money is going to rule you, because you're going to be like, crap, I still have a week left and I've blown through my checking. I've got $2 left in my checking account. But if you budget, and you'll find your own budgeting hacks. If you budget and you make lists and don't leave them on your counter, you'll be like, oh, look at that. I made it to the end of the month and I didn't overdraw my checking account. Or I made it to the end of the month and I've still got $20 left in my food envelope. Woohoo! Those are great wins. So just recap. Budget. Look up Dave Ramsey if that will help you. Read his book. Cash for grocery and like household things like toilet paper, dish soap, that kind of things. Make those extra paychecks, those either 4 extra paychecks a year or 2 extra paychecks a year, work for you. If you get a tax refund, make that work for you. Start setting aside and saving for a deep freeze if you don't already have one. Maybe you already have one. Look into vacuum sealers. Buy bulk when you can. Buy local when you can. Don't forget to check the discount bins at the store, or watch for products that are on the discount. For bacon, look for the odds and ends, or ones that have irregular shapes, irregular slices. They don't come in shapes, because they'll be cheaper, because they're not the pristine. Kind of like when you go to a scratch and dent store and you can get, a refrigerator $500 cheaper because it's got a little dent in the side. Same premise, okay? Don't be a bacon snob. Don't worry about buying the best that you can, or the best, because if you worry about only getting the best and you can't afford what is in your mind is the best, then you're gonna freeze and be like, oh, I can't do this perfect, so I'm not gonna do it at all. I guarantee you, I do not get grass-fed butter. I can't afford that. There's no way in heck that I can afford that. So I do the best that I can do, and I just get the regular butter, okay? Get whatever cuts of meat that you can afford. Does, you know, the ground, if you're getting ground beef and you're not getting it like buying your, you know, a cow, then get 70/30. Get, you know, the 70/30 beef patties. Get the tougher cuts of meat that you can cook slower in the slow cooker if you got a pressure cooker or, you know, whatever. So it won't be tough. But those are a way to get more protein and fat into your diet without blowing your budget. Hot dogs are just fine. Okay, so get what you can get. Try to do group buys or get some friends that want to go in on something. And I mean, you could even, if you both have vacuum sealers and you're like, there's this really great buy on this big box of vacuum bags, but it's $20 and I don't have $20 to spend. Do you want to split this? Then it's $10 for you, $10 for them. Hey, that's a win. Okay. Make sure you make your list and stick to it. If you have a Costco or other warehouse membership, go in there with your list and your blinders on. Okay? So I hope that this has been helpful. If it was, be sure to give a thumbs up. If you like my channel and you like what I'm doing and everything, please subscribe. And hit the notification bell so that when I get a bright idea on a Saturday morning with no makeup on, you can be sure to hop on and listen to me yak. I think that is everything. So I wish you all a great weekend. Make it terrific and start making your pennies bleed.